Hey YouTube, if you want to hear my story regarding playing sports in college, mental illnesses, body dysmorphia, lifting, competing, athletic injuries, and what it's like to have a athletic identity crisis, feel free to keep watching. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Danny and I'm so glad you're here. I thought that I would make this video a little bit more personal, so got more of a casual setting in the background. Basically, this video is just going to be me telling you my experience, my struggles, the positives, the negatives of my athletic career and how it took me to playing a sport in college and where it's led me now. Feel free to grab your beverage of choice because this is going to be a long one. Alright, so I guess I should start with my athletic background. So basically, I've been playing sports all of my life. I've been playing sports since I was 5. I'm currently 22. I started by playing t-ball, and then I played baseball, and then I started to do competitive cheerleading. I did school cheerleading, not all-star cheerleading. However, I will say that my high school was very competitive. It was pretty much ran like an all-star gym. I was a competitive cheerleader for about 6 years. I competed from 6th grade up until my junior year of high school. And during that time, my team and I, looking back, those are some of the best memories I've had. Ranked nationally almost every time that we went down there. We've gotten second twice, and then my junior year we ended up winning the national title. I competed in the medium co-ed division. We were state champions every year, regional champions, district champions. So from competitive cheerleading, that's kind of where my work ethic came from, and it was a great sport and I loved it. However, I will say I did experience, how do I word this? You could tell that the coaching staff really wasn't into it anymore, and it was just starting to get not really enjoyable, and there was favoritism and, you know, all that stuff that comes along with sports. So my senior year of high school, I decided to stop doing cheerleading and pursue track and field. So I did do track and field in middle school, and I have the middle school record for the hurdles, but I think I still have the record. So that's kind of crazy. But I did do track and field basically a month into the track season my junior year, just because my math teacher was also the track and field coach and kept asking me to join the team, and I'm glad he did. So after my junior year of winning the national title with my teammates, again, that was one of the best moments of my life. So rewarding for the amount of hours of work we put into that. But I decided it was time to close that door and open a new one. So with track in high school, like any high school track and field athlete, you pretty much do 4 events. So I competed in pole vault, 100-meter hurdles, long jump, and high jump, and I had no idea what I was doing. I will say I'm kind of naturally athletic. I did pretty well my senior year. So what happened was, for college, I was already set on where I was going for my bachelor's degree based on the academic program. But after my senior year of track ending, I was like, you know what, I think I want to do college track, because originally I wanted to do cheerleading in college and I wasn't ready to say goodbye to athletics just yet. So I shot the head coach an email saying, hey, these are my stats, let me know what you think. And he replied back and he said, yeah, we've got a spot for you on the team. That's where my college athletic career took place. Prior to that, I will say that I did do weightlifting in high school. I was a part of this lifting program that took the top athletes from around the area, basically in my county. So it was around, 10 different high schools, and the top athletes were all training there, and it was great. I learned so much. I'm so thankful for that organization and that experience, but especially thankful for my strength conditioning coach, James Carsey. Shout out to you. He's amazing, and he's basically the reason why I decided to go the route I did with my degree and who I am today, and all that mushy stuff. In high school, just to give you guys some stats, for those of you who understand lifting a little bit more. So at my best, my bench was, actually, I think I have some videos from back then, so I'll insert them as I'm talking. My max bench in high school was 135 pounds, and my max back squat was 225 pounds, and my max power clean was 140 pounds. So lifting was really my passion, and because of those stats and the amount of weight I could lift, I think that's why the coach let me on the team for track and field in college. I went to a D2 school in Pennsylvania, and technically I would kind of classify myself as a walk-on. So my first year for athletics, I did not receive a scholarship. However, my sophomore and junior year, I was on scholarship. I did not compete my senior year for college. And there's a lot of different reasons for that, so we'll get into that later. For my bachelor's degree, I was an exercise science major and had a minor in coaching and nutrition. With that, I also was a part of 2 different clubs, one of which I was on the exec board for. Again, I was a walk-on, and then after my first year there, my coach saw my potential, saw that I could be a good leader, and decided to, well, him along with the coaching staff and all of my teammates, I was graciously voted captain my sophomore and junior year. If you ask any of my teammates, and shout out to you guys if you're watching this, they would say that they were probably super intimidated by me at first, but that's because I just kind of seemed to come off with a strong personality, when really I just wanted everyone to be the best they can, work as hard as they can, and if you want the results, you gotta work for it. So I was kind of that captain that wasn't afraid to speak their mind and put people on the right track. So I can understand how that can be intimidating at times. I always had good intentions behind my words with my teammates. Basically, I forgot to mention this. So going into college, I was going to compete as a pole vaulter and a 100 meter hurdler. So with track and field, for those of you who don't know, it's pretty much like a year-round sport. You begin your preseason pretty much in September, really, and then your first indoor meet is the end of November, December, and then your indoor championships are in February, and then you roll right into outdoor season, and outdoor is from March to May, basically. And then your summertime is your off season and your prep again for the next year. So I was a pole vaulter and a hurdler, and then after my first week of practice and testing, my coach asked me if I wanted to be a multi, and I said, oh, well, what the heck is a multi? I've never heard of one. So basically a multi, or a multi as some people say. For women, it's called the heptathlon. For men, it's called the decathlon. So basically, men are competing in 10 events and women are competing in 7 events, and overall, how you do in each event equates to this equation that equates a certain amount of points, and then it counts as one event technically. So for me, the events that I had to do and learn and train for over the last 3 years in college were the 100 meter hurdles, the 200, the 800, which is awful, long jump, high jump, javelin, and shot put. So me only having technically 3 months of experience going into college, and then all of a sudden now doing 7 events, I had a lot to learn. I had a lot of hard work I had to put into it. That, as you can imagine, yes, training for 7 events means that your practice times are going to be longer. On the average, I'd say the rest of my teammates, the sprints, distance jumpers, their practices were usually 2 hours-ish every day. Mine were more 3 to upwards of 5 sometimes. So you could imagine me having a major, 2 minors, 2 clubs, and now being a heptathlete. How the heck did I balance all of that? And my response to that is I did, but I didn't. So basically what my typical day looked like is I would have class from around 8 a.m. to 1-ish, and then I had a lot of injuries. I've always had injuries for athletics. I'm very injury prone. I don't know what it is. So after my classes around 1, I would go to physical therapy with our athletic training staff, and that would be 1 to 2, and then I would have practice from 2 to 5 or later, depending on the day. And then after that, I would grab some dinner with my teammates and then head to the library and study until 10 p.m. and redo that. And that was pretty much my life for 3 years. You could say, I went to college, and it's not typically what people think. You don't really have a social life. You're working all the time. It's really hard to make friends, in college, your teammates really are your friend because you don't really get to socialize that much with other people. So then going back to those injuries, I think this is a topic that people don't talk a lot about, and unless you've had an injury, it's something you don't understand. There is so much mental toughness that comes with an injury, and when you have an injury that takes you out for weeks, months, your whole season, your whole career, it's like everything is taken away from you, and you can't do anything to fix it right away except to be patient and to work hard and to do your therapy and just do what you need to do to get better. When you have an injury, it's so oftentimes that people will get depression. You just feel so left out because, like, if you're injured, go to practice. Be around your teammates. Don't go to practice because you're injured and you can't contribute. You're just taking yourself away from the people that you used to spend so much time with. So being at practice can be really hard because you just feel like you're failing your teammates and you're failing your coach because you can't practice to get better. You're just stuck with this injury. So now most of the time you can have an injury that, you know, you do your physical therapy, you get better, you get back on the season, and you carry on. For me, I had a chronic injury. Chronic means long lasting. For me, I have a lot of knee and ankle problems. I used to have shin splints. They kind of went away once I went to college because we focused a lot on taking care of your shin splints. So I tried to do track my sophomore year of high school, but I hyperextended my knee going over a hurdle, and I got MRIs, I got x-rays. They told me I didn't tear anything. However, I feel like I did. I went to rehab for like 8 months, and to this day I still have pain in my knee, and I feel like I should probably go get it checked out, but I just don't feel like it, and they're gonna have to scope it. And yeah, so when it comes to understanding what it's like to be in pain, to feel helpless, to be depressed, well, I can't even say depression, I would say upset, because depression is a mental illness and it's not a word you just throw around. But I'll talk about that later. So getting back to my chronic injury I had in college, basically I had an overuse injury. And what that means is that it's an injury that happens when you overuse it, or you're working in the same movement pattern over and over again in your ankle. So pretend this is your foot and this is the bottom of your leg. Right in here, that joint, your ankle joint, it's called your mortise joint. And I had a bone contusion in my mortise joint, so that's basically just a bone bruise. What that means is anytime I had pressure on that joint, I would feel a sharp pain. So anytime I would walk or jog or sprint or do anything, I had pain. And I first developed that the winter season of my freshman year, and that injury lingered with me for all 3 years. Again, being a multi, it was kind of inevitable because I had to practice. I had to do the work volume in order to achieve the results that were desired. So it was more of, okay, you know, how much pain do I want to be in today? How much can I take? How much can I push through so that I can get a good enough workout so that I do well at championship? There's that reality. And what most people don't say is, depending on the coach you have or what your team culture is like, you could be pushed past those limits and be left with an injury that will affect you the rest of your life. After I was done with athletics, I took a year off so that my body could heal. I haven't had any pain in my ankles since then, which is good. Like, injuries can stay with you for a lifetime, and athletes need to realize that being an athlete is only a quarter of your life. I'm 22. I mean, I'd hope to live to like 80 or 100, but that's like 60, 80 more years of my life. And I'm gonna have this pain with me the rest of my life. And it just gets worse. So my parents say. I always joke around saying, oh, I'm getting too old for that. And they're like, oh, just you wait until you get older. You may love your sport and you don't care how much pain you're in, but you also have to think about the rest of your life. Going back to talking about how college athletics is a time commitment. It's great to put on your resume, but it takes a lot of time out of your life. For me, I didn't really have a social life. I tried and go out when I could, but it was hard to balance everything. You have a strict schedule, which there are pros and cons to that. Pros, it teaches you how to have good time management, but a con is you don't get to do those other things that students get to do in college, like be a part of clubs or go on field trips. The biggest thing is you can't do an internship, and you know how important that is in college. Well, you need experience to get a job. Okay, well, when should I get this experience? I don't have time. It's a juxtaposition. Next, I want to talk about something that is coming more to light and is becoming more of a norm, and I'm so thankful for that because it's something that needs to be normalized. And I guarantee everyone has struggled with something like this, and that's mental illnesses. If you know more about the human anatomy and the brain and all that, it's pretty much impossible to be perfect or to not have any chemical imbalances or handle stress completely well, or just all your ducks always in a row. It's just, that's not how life works. I want to share with you guys my mental illness story. Basically, my junior year, the NCAA, which is the governing body that regulates sports and college athletics, they decided that every student athlete needs to take this quiz regarding having a mental illness. So I took it, and at the end I was notified that, hey, you should probably go see a therapist based on your results. And I was like, yeah, I'll go see a therapist. No, I didn't go see a therapist. And it didn't come until there was one moment I was overwhelmed with school. My junior year, I was getting ready to apply for grad school, and I was overwhelmed with family, with finances. Trying to balance everything on my own was too much. And I'm someone who, if I feel like I'm not working all of the time, I'm lazy, and I know that's not right. So basically what happened is, the one time I had my anxiety was really high, and it turned into a panic attack. What happened is I was hysterically crying, and I couldn't breathe, and I was laying on my bed, and I couldn't move. I couldn't move my body, I was trapped. So apparently my camera only films for 30 minutes at a time, so it cut me off there. So let's get back into it. Having a panic attack, and I didn't know what to do. At the time I did live with 2 other girls, but the one girl was at work, and then my other friend went home for the weekend. So I was there by myself, and I didn't know what to do. So first I called my boyfriend at the time, and thank God he drove 2 hours to see me, and he came in, and I was still laying on my bed. I couldn't move. I was stuck. And then I also called my best friend, who went through a very similar thing, although hers was much worse, and I'm so thankful for her. I want to cry. Whew. And I'm so thankful that she is still here today. Okay guys, we're good. I'm gonna collect myself. We're gonna get back into this, but mental illness is a real thing, and it affects everyone. So after that moment, I was like, all right, I should go to therapy. And everybody needs therapy. People that, if you've been to therapy and you didn't like it, try again. It could have been your therapist. It could have been your psychiatrist. It's okay to try different people and see who works for you and what doesn't. So after that moment, I contacted the people I need to contact in order to get a therapy session scheduled, and I'm so thankful that my university had specifically a sports psychologist that was meant just for the athletes who had an athletic background. And she also had a therapy dog, which was awesome because I got to pet a dog the whole time. Anyway, so I went to therapy. I did a couple of sessions. You have a max of like however many sessions, and then the university will schedule you out to a physician that's off campus that you then have to pay for. But most universities do have free counseling for students. So take advantage of that when you can, because therapy is expensive, and my therapy sessions were so beneficial. For me, I felt as though this isn't the case for everyone. I could manage my anxiety without any medications, so I told her that I wanted tools that could help me manage my anxiety. So basically she taught me how to alleviate my stress so my anxiety didn't build up, how to communicate more, how to be more organized, what to do when I had anxiety that turned into a panic attack. This is, I guess, 3 years later since that incident has happened, and I'm a lot better, but I can't say that it's something that you're just gonna poof, you're better. It's something you live with, and it just gets better the more you can recognize it and know how to deal with it in a healthy way. So I'm not gonna lie, I did have a panic attack like 2 days ago. So it comes in all shapes, all sizes. It's inclusive. It's definitely not exclusive. Mine's just anxiety. I have not experienced depression. Depression is, unless you've had it, it's hard to explain. And I've been around a lot of people that have it, so I kind of understand, but I will never truly understand because I've never had it. Depression is common with athletes, with people, everyone. Eating disorders is another mental illness that needs to be talked about more with men and women, especially in sports where the figure is more seen. As most people know, more so oftentimes people say gymnastics or track and field, because you're in those uniforms where more skin is showing, so you feel the need to look a certain way. Talk about it. Talk to your friend, talk to your parents, talk to your teammates, because the moment you allow yourself to talk about your experiences, it makes other people feel more comfortable and feel more able to open up about something. Oh, okay, well, I guess going back to track and field, my experience. During my time for college athletics, I would say I am very thankful for the opportunity I had to be on an athletic team, because again, it is a privilege and it's not a right. And I say that because not everybody gets to go to college. Not everybody gets to compete in college. There are people that would love to be in the same position that I was in or you're in. I always went to practice excited. I was always thankful for my teammates and my coaches. And within the role that I was in, I've learned a lot of lessons being an athlete. A lot of characteristics and skills that your degree really can't teach you. And that's something that when you're finding a job after your degree, most businesses or CEOs know that and they recognize that. Also, within playing a sport in college, you also have to know your role. And by that, what I mean is, like with track and field, it's an individual sport, but it's also a team sport. Regarding your team sports, everybody has different skills that they're better at. Everybody has their weaknesses. So you have to know where your strengths are so you can help somebody else's weakness. And you have to be aware of your weaknesses so somebody else with that strength can help you. And with that specifically, so for me being a captain, I was an okay athlete. I wasn't amazing, but I wasn't awful. I was like, take average and go like a little step above that. One of the talks I had with my coach, who taught me a lot of lessons and I'm so thankful for. I remember this one time, it was at the time really hard for me to accept the words that he was saying, but I knew he was right, and that my role in the team was to be a leader. And my role wasn't to be someone who scored points. Now, I did score a couple points here and there at championships, but my main role in the team was to be a leader by example and to help guide others and show people the way and show the rights from the wrongs so that I could help build the team into something that we wanted to be proud of. And sometimes you're just not going to be the guy everyone's always talking about, or you are, and then there's a bunch of different personalities within that. Going off of that, some of the lessons I've learned from being a athlete in college, definitely a hard work ethic and learning not to make excuses. That's probably the biggest one. That's, if y'all want to take anything away from that, literally take that away. Like, if you have an issue or if you made a mistake, live up to it. Just say, yeah, you're right, I messed up, I'm not going to do it again. Don't make excuses. You don't need to tell them, oh, I didn't do this because of that, because it doesn't matter. The point is, you did something wrong and you fix it. Because personally, from my perspective, if somebody messed up on something and I'm calling them out, I don't need to hear the explanation. I don't care what you did wrong. I'm just letting you know what you're doing isn't right, so change it. That's it. It's really that simple. There doesn't need to be any emotions or feelings behind it. I just mentioned some of my stats. I'd say for me, I was more into the lifting than I was the running part. So the weight room was like, you know, it was my kingdom, it was my safe place. Up into my junior year, my lifting stats, I could bench 145 pounds. I could back squat 265 pounds, and I could power clean 200 pounds, which that I am so proud of. And power cleaning is like my favorite thing to do. Honestly, how I got to 200 pounds my sophomore year, I was at 180, and I told my coach after we tested, I said, I want to get to 200. And then he said, well, like, you got 2 more years, what's the rush? Like, how are you gonna do that? And I looked at him and I said, watch. And I did. I can tell you guys another time how I did that and basically how I break everything down when it comes to lifting. But anyway, let's move on to, oh wait, backtrack it. Let's talk about why I only did 3 years of track opposed to 4. The short story is, well, 1, I was tired of my body being in pain all the time. 2, like I mentioned before, with the time constraint, it's really hard to get internships. And in my field within strength and conditioning and the health sciences, I'm sure some of you guys can relate to this. It's don't apply unless you have how many hours or years of experience. But then you can't get into any place unless you have experience. So where do you get the experience? You have to volunteer. And it sucks. For me, it was like, okay, I need this experience if I want to get a job, if I want to practical hands-on knowledge. So I graduated a semester early. I graduated in December of 2019. And the reason I did that, basically, I put all of my eggs in one basket and I applied for this national scholarship that was going to allow me to coach full-time for 5 or 6 months, I don't remember. I worked hard, I built my resume up so that I could apply for this scholarship, and after a very lengthy interview process, I was awarded the scholarship. I was one of 3 other women awarded the scholarship, and it was amazing. I'm so thankful for that. So thank you, NSCA, for that opportunity. It was great. I learned so much, and ultimately it made me realize that I didn't want to be a strength conditioning coach, which is crazy because that's what I wanted to be since a 9th grader in high school. And sometimes you really don't know what you want to be until you experience it. You might not realize it might not be for you, or it could validate that that is for you and you are on the right path. I also want to mention that life is not linear. So by linear, I mean life doesn't travel in this nice, easy upward slope. It's more jagged, So you're gonna have your ups, your downs, and you don't have to do the same thing the rest of your life. You can do different things that interest you. Anyway, so I graduated a semester early so I could do this scholarship. After my time there, well, it got cut short because of COVID, so I continued doing that via online meetings and stuff like that. And then we hit the summer, and then I had a summer internship and I was working, and in August, then I moved down to North Carolina and I started grad school. So I'm currently in grad school and pursuing my master's degree. Let's talk about post-athlete life. So this is a topic that, again, isn't really talked about. It's called having a athlete identity crisis. So, kind of people joke around, oh, when you're 50 or 30 or whatever age, you have your identity crisis because you don't know who you are anymore. Well, for athletes, whether you're middle school, high school, college, pro, whoever, if you had a love and you spent countless hours towards something and then all of a sudden you're not doing it anymore, you don't know how to introduce yourself to somebody. In my bachelor's degree, I'd say, hi, my name's Danny and I'm on the track and field team, or I play this, or I do that. But now it's like, hey, I'm Danny. Woo. You basically define who you are by your sport. And if you played a sport, you know what I'm talking about because that's just what you said. Even when you talk about cousins or your family, it's like, oh, that's Johnny, he plays baseball. It's just how it is. Once you're done with sports, you really don't know what to do because all of that time that you spent practicing is now free. Either people will continue and start to play a club sport, they'll start working out more, embracing your hobbies more. So for me, again, basically what I did, I had my internship. So for me, I didn't really work out for a year, like I mentioned before, because of the injuries I had. With that, for me, I was letting my body heal, I was resting. Then it got to the point where I was at, a year and a half post being an athlete, and I didn't like the way I looked, and I was self-conscious all the time, and the amount of mean, negative, and rude thoughts I would think about myself looking in the mirror was awful. It was all the time. But I had like an 8-pack all my life. One time I did a bod pod as a part of one of my classes, and I had 11% body fat. And for a woman, you really shouldn't go below 13. For me now, I'm 5'7". When I went into college, I weighed 120 pounds. And then after my first year of college, I weighed 135 pounds. All of it was muscle. And now, still 5'7", I weigh more like 150 pounds. Obviously, I'm not as muscular as I was because I'm not working out like a madman. I mean, I used to burn, oh my gosh, I used to eat probably 4,000 to 5,000 calories a day because I was burning like 3,000 calories a day. And now I'm basically eating 2,000 calories a day. That's been weird for me, trying to change my eating habits, because I used to go from eating, you know, breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, snack, second dinner, after dinner snack. So to being more like, oh, I had some coffee for breakfast and then I had some lunch, and then like 7 o'clock rolls around and I'm like, shoot, I forgot to eat dinner. So then I eat something. It's been way different adjusting to that. Again, going back to kind of looking at myself in the mirror, I would define my self-worth by if I could see my abs. That's messed up. It really started to get bad this past summer when we were in COVID, and I was eating way more than normal, and I wasn't exercising because the gyms were closed. And it got to the point where it was so negative, and I would be disgusted with myself. I started running. I started running like crazy, and I hate running. It's the worst. And then it got more to after I moved down here, and I was still having those thoughts, and I was like, this is my body, this is my temple, and this is what I have to work with the rest of my life. I only get one body to live in. I only get one life to have. So what is the point of me being negative and me being so rude to my body? I started to challenge myself to say positive things. I don't know why, but like I get roll lines really easily, and honestly I'm kind of self-conscious about it. So even if I like bend down to tie my shoe, I'll have these red lines on my stomach, and I don't know why I told you guys that, but that's something that makes me insecure. I am a woman, and I am meant to have rolls, and I am meant to have body fat, because that is just how it is, and that's how men are too. You're supposed to have body fat, you're supposed to have rolls. Nobody looks shredded all the time. I mean some people do, but I don't want that. It's nice to look good, but like I don't want the food restriction. I don't want to work out like crazy. I want to enjoy life. I want to enjoy foods. I want to eat the burgers and the french fries and the funnel cakes and the Oreos and just all the things that are greasy. Dip it in oil, add the sugar, add the chocolate, all of it. Anyway, wow, I just went on a long rant, but let's go back. Kind of how I've changed my mindset. And I'm not gonna say that I'm 100% better at all, by any means, but I started to, when I'd look at myself in the mirror and I'd see that my roll that I have, rolls, not just one, multiple, I would say, damn, that's a cute tummy. You look good today. Instead of tearing yourself down, just say something nice. Because again, it's your body, you know, your priorities shift, and my priority now isn't working out for a performance or to do well or to look a certain way. Now I want to be healthy, and I want my heart to be healthy and enjoy life, because I only get to be in my 20s for 10 years. So I want to enjoy that time. And again, you're not gonna look this young forever. I mean, you could. Wow, okay, I think that's everything. That's pretty much it, guys. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I don't know what else to say. So I guess let's just make this some kind of a fun thing in the comment section. I guess so in the comments down below, just comment something from this video that inspired you, or if you're a fellow student athlete, maybe comment your struggles that you've had with being a student athlete currently or now post-student athlete life. I hope you guys found comfort in some of my words, and I hope you feel a little bit more normal after some of my experiences. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it this far, please like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate it. Why athletes always take their pictures like this? Like what is this? Like, I feel like I'm being choked. Mama's got that double chin that she's always sneaking up on me. She's always there, which is fine.